Pastor Russ here with hope for today. Sometimes a loved one can hurt us over and over by their actions. I just want to remind you that we need to forgive them each time that happens. It does our hearts good. Sometimes we forget that forgiveness is not only for the offender, but it's also freeing in our own hearts, in our own lives as well. But there are times where sometimes a wound can go very deep into our hearts, into our lives. And even though we may want to forgive them, we may want to be completely good with them, the pain can still be there. It can take a long time to work through feelings of betrayal or rejection or even shame. In some cases, we may need to offer forgiveness literally every single day. For instance, every time you pray, or certainly when the pain is worse, we need to pray. I want you to know that this is a normal part of spiritual warfare. We do this to protect our own hearts from bitterness as well as to protect the relationship with the other person as well. In Matthew chapter 18, verse 21 and 22, Peter asked Jesus an interesting question. He says, "Lord, how often should I forgive someone who sins against me? 7 times?" Now, if memory serves me correctly, in Jewish law, you are required to forgive someone 3 times. So Peter is doubling that and adding 1 to it to make his 7. And I'm sure he's thinking Jesus is really going to be impressed with his forgiving heart. But here's what Jesus says back to Matthew. He says, 7 times? No, Jesus replied, but 70 times 7. Now, if my math is correct, that's 490 times. And we may go like, my gracious, that may seem like a lot. But if you've had someone in your life who's continually hurt you and you've had to go back and back and back and offer forgiveness each and every time, you know this to be true, that there are times where forgiveness can be more like a marathon than it can be a sprint. And I just want to remind you that each time you're offering that forgiveness, you're not only doing it for them, but you're doing it for your own spiritual as well as emotional health as well.